Watching myself over there.
Oh, so bad.
Hey.
Wow, it's a little washed out too. But hey, we're live on Twitch. Welcome. Yeah, can you adjust that white balance for me, BJ?
No, you're just white.
All right, well, welcome back, guys. Welcome to the basement here at Hit Network. This is the Blockchain Basement Show, the official BitBoy Crypto after show where we hang out and talk crypto some more, even when we just talked about it for an hour and a half. We've got all kinds of stuff going on this week. We're going to be joined by some of your favorite people here. We've got AJ Wrights Crypto, Drew Wider. Wait, I got him backwards. Decker, Drew, Ali, Space Captain BJ. Oh, there's his hand. You saw it real quick. Yep, there it is. And then also we're going to be joined momentarily by one of our favorites, kind of collaborators here, Evan Aldo. Somebody, if you watch Frankie Candles, they've done some collaborations in the past. He's also part of this Twitch group we've really been pushing to build the crypto community on here. Great trader, uses market Cypher a lot. So if you guys are used to that indicator, he can give you a lot of information. We're going to be looking at, obviously, tons of news, tons of information with the whole FTX fallout. Now, obviously, Blockfolio, or I'm sorry, Blocktopia?
BlockFi.
Too many things that start with block in
I
crypto.
know.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
BlockFi has halted withdrawals today, which is not necessarily a shocker, but never feels good if you've got money locked up on there. What's up, PJ?
Shocker.
Oh, gosh.
That is a shocker.
Oh, PJ. You guys didn't see that one. So anyway, we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. But before we do, we are going to be having a call-in guest, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
Corey.
I know. That was good.
Corey.
That was good.
Anyway, we're going to have him call in, give us some knowledge on the markets and kind of see what he's looking at from a trading and a technical analysis perspective, looking a little bit at where we are in the Bitcoin cycle. He's going to look back a little bit on late 2018 and make some comparisons. So I'm looking forward to that. As always, if you guys have any questions, please hit us in the chat. You know, we see some of our favorite people here. Chef Crypto, Enzo Mining, Crypto Thorn. Where's somebody new? Jimmy Bounce 23, Tiny Aim, Corey Harden, one of my favorites, S75901 SBF calling in. No, not yet. That'd be on the mainstream. So, real quick, let's take us to Evan. Is he waiting in the wings? Evan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Awesome.
loud and clear. Thanks so much for having me. Great to be on.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for joining us. Like I said, it's Evan Aldo Crypto, most places, or just Evan Aldo on YouTube. He does all of his live streams here on Twitch, so it's very easy. BJ, if you don't mind dropping his channel in the chat there for people just to find it, you should definitely go follow him, give him a sub. He does really good content. He's working really hard in the space, and anytime you see people out here putting effort in a bear market, we're big believers that deserves to be rewarded. You see a lot of people disappear in the bear market and come in the bull market. So anyway, thanks to Evan. Thanks for joining us here. And yeah, I kind of gave you a little bit of a intro about what we're going to be covering, but obviously it's been a crazy week, you know, with FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, Alameda, Fallout. You know, we've experienced some of the pain. We got to bounce off the CPI yesterday, kind of trailing back in today. From a technical analysis perspective, kind of a twofold question. One, did you see anything on the charts that kind of made you think some of this might be coming? And two, where do you see us kind of heading from here? Any clear indicators one direction or another?
To answer your first question is yes. It's been looking pretty bearish like that for a while. And the answer to the second is it looks like we could get a lot worse here. And let me just show you on the screen. I got quite a bit to show you here. I mean, let me know. You should be able to see it right now, correct?
Yep, we got it.
Good. So the first thing I want to show you on Bitcoin, and the thing I've been talking about to kind of predict this a little bit, you know, kind of on the macro, was a money flow crossover on the 12-day right here. Now, you came up a little bit from that, but then finally played out. Historically, you know, for lack of sense of time, I'll just tell you the numbers. I mean, 30% here back in, you know, 2015, 30%. It was always 30 to 40% drops down. We're down right now about, let's just see, from the top of this candle right here, and about 19%. Would make sense to come down at least another 10% here. And you do have the yellow X on the 12-day on market Cypher. This is the first time ever you've had this bearish sign. Look, you've never had this before on this time frame. Usually yellow X is very bearish on any large time frame like this. You have had blood diamonds before here. Obviously, this one in 2015 didn't give you too much. It's actually probably worse than it looks because that was such a while ago. I mean, 26% right there. So that's, you know, that case. It doesn't look good right there. In terms of an accumulation phase, you know, a lot of people probably want to know, you know, when should you start to DCA in long term? And I've been holding off. And the reason why is we're just keep seeing more bearish things. After this yellow X confirms in about 9 days, it may be the time to try to DCA in. But what you want to look for is what I circled right here. Look at this. You do have this area. This is from November 9th and November 9th, 2018, which is crazy. Look right
Wow.
here, what candle we're on right now, November 9th. Same exact thing. And this lasted, just for a time perspective, this was November 9th all the way to December 15th, give or take a few days before that when the actual bottom was. But you get the point. About a month, a little over a month. So that would be probably the time to wait to try to start to maybe get in, especially if we come down a lot more. Now, we could kind of compare this capitulation to the last one. This was about 50%. You could also compare this. This is the same, pretty similar, this red dot to the bottom here back in December 2014. This one lasted about a month as well. The last one was a 50% correction in 2018. This was about same deal, about a wherever that wick went down to 58%. So 60%, 50%. Obviously, as market cap gets larger, there's going to be a little less volatility overall. Now, my guess would be somewhere at least kind of 40%. 11K is that area. We do have what I want to show you on the weekly. We do have the 400 weekly moving average. The reason why this is relevant, because look, in the pandemic, you bottomed out at the 300 weekly moving average here. It was the 200 weekly moving average in their last bear market bottom. So I think there is a lot of relevance to talk about the 400 weekly moving average. Also, the other pattern that I want to tell you, I call this shortened bear market theory. The first bear market, it took a while to bottom out. You went from November of 2013, I believe, all the way to January of 2015. The next one was quicker, December of 2018. This one, if you repeat that pattern, we're bottoming out this month, and it could either be at the 400 weekly moving average. The technicals, I would say, point more towards the 500 weekly moving average right here, which is at around 11K right now. And there's a lot of historical support there. Obviously, this is going to be a huge, huge area. 400 weekly moving average is about 13.5K. There ain't too much there. There's not too much there. You do have this is a big support and resistance point from back here, but really it's not even that big. You do have some spiral lines. For those not familiar with spiral lines, they're just lines of support and resistance, basically trend lines. There's some support at 15, but I'm not too hopeful for it. Also, the last couple things I want to show you pretty quickly here is just the money flow on the 6-day right now. So you have the red dot on the 6-day. Similar to here where I circle, see that same red dot. Now, to say we're going to come down another, 50% right here down to 8K, I think that's a little too pessimistic. That's probably not going to happen unless something crazy happens. But I would map it out probably from the top of here. You see this money flow right here? The top of this candle to the bottom, that's about 44%. So if you do 44%, let's see what that coincides with. From there, 44% right to your 500 weekly moving average, right around, it didn't stay, but right around 11K is going to be that huge, huge point. So that's the main thing I have for Bitcoin. My advice, wait, just wait a month, see what happens right now. Wait a few weeks.
Absolutely. And that was the 400-day moving average or the 500-day at the end there?
So 500 daily moving average is at about 11K. 400 is at about 13.5K right now. So I think both of those points are significant. I'm a little hesitant on the 400 weekly moving average because there isn't much historical support there. You're not really bumping into anything.
Well, that was something I was going to ask. I know, I'm not a huge technical analysis guy. I've definitely absorbed a lot of it over the years. As you know, Frank does a lot of our TA here, but obviously the 200-day moving average is very important. A lot of people watch that trend line very importantly. Obviously it's just the difference in time, right? 200, 300 versus 400. Is there any more weight that gets put on certain ones more than the longer it is the trend stronger, that sort of thing? Or what would be your, other than just different information to take in as a trader, what's the main draw of why 200 is more generally looked at than 400 or 500?
It's historical data, how much it's hit. 200 is going to be the one that's looked at the most. And the fact that, we've been under it for such a long time now is not a good sign. 300 is going to be very powerful because that's where you bounced off of in the pandemic. That's a huge area, but we've lost it again. So, you're going to be looking at 400 and 500 right now. And historically, Bitcoin's always bottomed out at a moving average like that, which is what we're going on to from a technical analysis perspective. But at the same time, you want to look at other things. Never base it just on one thing. You want to look at other things, especially money flow, which is a really good thing. Like I was showing you where we bottomed out in money flow in 2018. I think that's going to be a huge, huge area to look at. And I think the accumulation phase that I showed you on the 12-day is going to be huge. Just wait till that yellow X plays out. That may be a few weeks. And also the timeline of this. I wouldn't even call this a bear market or a bull market. This is a capitulation market, it looks like. This is where everybody seems to be capitulating. Exchanges are halting withdrawals every other day. I mean, BlockFi, I was shocked that it took them that they were able to stay for this long before they had to halt withdrawals. That was shocking to me. But it's, I think kind of the worst case scenario for crypto keeps happening here, sadly. It seems like just the worst possible case scenario keeps happening.
It does. Every time it seems like we come up for air, it's like another shoe drops and we get pushed down back under again. So it sounds like you're pretty much in a watch and wait kind of mode right now. You think we're going lower. You're not moving in obviously anything heavy right now. Trading wise, are you still when you get some crazy volatility like this? Obviously, volatility can work in your favor. Looks like things are going lower. Do you have any active shorts open or anything like that you're trading right now?
I want to show you one I really liked, that one I did well on this morning. This is a good place. So I'm just looking at shorts right now. Not too much of a reason of long. If you're going to be longing, please make it a small position. Obviously not financial advice, but I mean, that's just my 2 cents in this environment. So let me show you a trade I took this morning. And this is off of a pretty nice spider line right here. Let me just get rid of this moving average so it's a little bit cleaner, the screen. And let me zoom in right now. It's lagging a tiny bit right here. And I'll just show you. Let me just toggle on my spider line right there. So I have notifications set when I hit a spider line that I get the notification. I don't obviously, enter on every single spider line, but what I'm looking for at spider lines, especially on a 10-minute time frame or above, a bearish div. Now, look at right here. These momentum waves are coming down as price is getting larger, as price is getting higher here. So you draw it from the red dots, connect the red dots. Price is getting higher, momentum waves going down. This confirmed, and look at that. Bam, a big drop down right there. Locked in profits for that. So my stop loss to my entry point. So I'm waiting on that one. That was actually what I'm doing here is what I try to do is I add to trades that are already in the green. So I've been short for a while from yesterday. Actually, I took a short, and let me show you, believe I took a short based on this, around this 15. Yeah. When we were testing around 18K yesterday, and it was based on this bearish div right here. Notice how you have the bearish div, and now you see money flow starting to kind of curve down a little bit there as price is getting larger. This one was a little bit more risky than the one, this morning, because you're not really hitting any point right here, but 18K is going to be a big psychological level. Also, if you look at how much we pumped up from the local bottom here, 15%. I mean, let's think in all logic, you're going to have to come back a little bit. It's very rare. Bitcoin's just going to pump up back over 20%. So that's what I was looking at there. That was that same trade, locked in profits for a trade, and I was waiting. Then this morning, added that trade. I doubled the trade, and then I took more profits. Now I'm just letting it ride. My stop loss is at my average entry point, which is somewhere around 17.6, 17.6 or something. And maybe if we come up some more here, I'll look to add. Another place I'd look to add is possibly, I like to add to on money flow crossovers. If we have the 30-minute crossover into the red again, I'd be looking to add. And I mean, obviously before this would not have, look at that 15 at the same time, 15-minute money flow crossover into red. As you curve back over, maybe we've curved back over later today into the red, I'll look to add to that position. I also like to keep an eye on funding fees too, which is important. If funding fees are very highly negative, like they were when we were over here, they were crazy highly negative, you're usually going to have a short squeeze. Now they've been a little bit more neutral, which makes it look like we could continue the trend some more and have those things, those very bearish things I talked about, play out. So yeah.
No, it definitely sounds, I would agree with your analysis almost 100% there. Obviously, this is probably one of the number one questions getting asked the most right now. We've talked about it a lot here, self-custody your funds, take your things off exchanges. But clearly, if you're trading certain positions, if you're an active trader, you need a certain percentage of your funds on exchanges. What exchanges do you prefer when it comes to trading? When it comes to feeling safe, and like what are you using right now to trade? I guess is the question.
Yeah, so that's a great question. What I always try to tell people is, self-custody your stuff kind of for long-term, especially your Bitcoin. The majority of just my whole long-term Bitcoin, that's all self-custody hardware wallet. For trading, you have to take a little bit of a risk. I mean, I have mainly the majority of my funds on Bybit, they've been around for a while. It's a pretty trustworthy company for the most part. I have some other stuff on Phoenix and Bitget in case Bybit it goes down and vice versa. So, if one goes down, if you have things on 3 places, if one goes down, it's going to suck, but you're not completely dead. At the same time, it's good to have other accounts in different exchanges just so you could do scalp trades maybe on one exchange, do long or do more swing trades on another one. That's always a good strategy. Obviously, don't forget, don't have too many open accounts open. Sometimes you can forget about a trade, keep things written down at that point. People ask me too about kind of the earning interest. I took all my stuff off of BlockFi a while ago. I mean, there's usually good hints, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like even before Celsius, there were good hints where I was able to, I do have $5,000, I believe, worth of altcoins. I'm trapped on Celsius, but I was able to get a lot of stuff off of Celsius, and I was kind of stupid to leave anything on there. It was kind of a risk that I was willing to take. Keep it spread out is what I would say. I mean, I like Gemini probably the most because the Winklevoss twins have been in the game for so long. They have the most experience. But obviously anybody could go down at any time. We don't know. I think the majority of people have better ethics than Sam Bankman-Fried, though. That's kind of or Alex Mashinsky. I think Mashinsky more had better intentions, but was too much of a degenerate gambler. But people like the Winklevoss have kind of been in the game. They're used to it going down 80%. And I don't know if it's a really bad thing or a good thing that all of these things have happened and Bitcoin hasn't even gone down 80% yet. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You know what I mean?
It's yeah, very true. I mean, we're close. We're 50, and it's kind of that 10,500 or 11,000 mark you were pointing out would bring us almost right in line with that 85%. And it is eerily similar to what we saw in 2018. The fact that we were almost 1 year to the day is pretty crazy. I mean, I am intrigued by your theory about the shortening bear markets because, like if this plays out in the next, 4 to 5 weeks, like it could be kind of right in that range where it is tightening up just a little bit. So, AJ, you said you had a question for Evan there?
Yeah. Hi, Evan. My name's AJ. Big fan of your stuff. I'm a day trader myself. I trade literally every single day of the week. I'll definitely check into more of your stuff. But he was asking about the exchanges. I wanted to know where you sat with KuCoin because this is kind of a self-interest question.
That's where AJ has his money.
I obviously day
KuCoin.
trade on KuCoin every day of my life. And I've heard a lot of different rumors about it. And I just wanted to ask what your perception was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use KuCoin. I've never used it for leverage trading. I've only used it to buy like small cap altcoins. So I do not have any money on it currently. I've heard, I've definitely heard more sketchy things about KuCoin than, Bybit or Bitget or Phoenix. So, I would say if you're going to be using it, spread it out to the other leverage exchanges. I personally don't use KuCoin, but it's not because I hate it or I think they're going to pause withdrawals right now. It's just, I'm just happy with what I am on the 3 I'm in, but probably to have the most security, have those 4 accounts, KuCoin plus those 3. So
I think that was really good advice, spreading to multiple different exchanges. I had another trading related question for you. So we know a lot of people obviously came into this market 2020, 2021. They were trading it, they were killing it. They're like, oh, I'm an amazing trader, right? When it's only going up, everybody looks like a genius. Obviously, going down, it's a little bit different, especially these past few months when there's just tons of chop. You really got to be a better trader. You kind of can tell who's good and who's not in these kind of chop zones we've been in. So for somebody who maybe hasn't traded a bear market, hasn't traded a sideways market, because if we do look forward beyond what we were looking at in 2018, what you were just showing, 2019 obviously was a lot of sideways action, a lot of chops, some pumps here and there, but some pretty tight ranges. So if somebody hasn't traded in a bear market, in a sideways market for a while, do you have any advice or anything that you've learned over the years that you think might help them as they're going forward?
Yeah, so believe it or not, contrary to popular belief, this market since September has been, in my opinion, a pretty easy market to trade overall because price just goes to the same places and bounces off of the same spiral lines. Now, it depends. If you're trying to do a swing trade long and keep, adding to it on low leverage, you're obviously dead in the water. And probably the same thing, now you're okay. If you're doing a swing trade for a short, now you're okay, but you would have to wait months for that to really play out well. But what I would show you is just my main strategy. Let me show you the screen here kind of just to like show you what I'm always looking at, just these support and resistance points. Let me zoom out just a little bit to show you. Obviously, it's a different environment now. We crashed down, but a lot of places I was able to get in. And what I look at a lot of times here, split RSIs, especially in a bear market, are big things to look at. These two places, look at these split RSIs, especially when purple and bright green RSI. Wait till this is even really good, because look, you're losing the line of resistance here. You're losing that line. It's rejecting from the line, and you're confirming the red dot. Here, you maybe would have wanted to get in a little bit earlier, but usually a trade of this nature works very well. A short position like this works very well. Set the stop loss above the swing high there. And then my risk reward ratio, I like to go, at least 0.7, 0.8. Ideally, right here, just look at other points, fib levels and other points of support resistance. This would have been a perfect place for this trade. I believe I took this trade. It's hard to remember back in mid-September now, but same thing at this exact other place that I circled. It would have been a trade, right? Where was that red dot? Yeah, right there. You would have entered as you lost that area. Stop loss, let's see, above this. I would do it above that swing high, and then perfectly, you could have been greedy, wait till the spiral line, really good risk reward ratio. I like to usually go around 1 or a little bit under 1, see hitting these points of kind of where poor price is sticking. Lock in profits, take out, between 25 to 50% at the first take profit, and then wait, take out more here. And then what you could do, what I was explaining earlier, this is kind of like you could trade with house money a little bit. If you add to the trade and keep your stop loss at the new entry point, then it's a risk-free trade. And sometimes, you could do that and then take more profits down at this level. And, same thing right here. Just look at these, just look at the spiral lines and bearish divs right here. So that was a bearish div. See those two lines coming down. You would have been able to short down there. You would have got stopped on profit, but then it's an even bigger bearish dip, so it's even more powerful right here. Rejection off of the spiral line, and then bam. I'm still in an ETH short that I entered when Bitcoin was at this price. Obviously, they follow a good amount. So that's my main tech. That's what I've been doing throughout this entire area. And then certain longs off of some of these places. But honestly, like in a bear market, even if it's sideways, you could get away with just going pretty much short. The majority of trades I've been doing have just been shorts since September, really. So yeah.
No, that's good advice. So obviously, you trade you use the spider lines a lot as indicators and things like that. But like you just said, going short, the trend is your friend is something I say all the time. So when it's very obviously going up, looking for longs makes sense. The past year, it's been very obviously going down. Looking for shorts makes sense. Not saying you can't catch a dip that bounces and you can get along, like he was saying. Just have tight stop losses and tight ranges set up, but your odds are better when you're staying in line with the macro trend, which has been overall bearish this past year. And it seems to be, we could be nearing a bottom, but it seems to be mostly bearish as well. And Riddled with Puns in the chat said, best time to learn to trade is in the bear market. If you can learn to trade in the bear market, the bull market's going to be money, which I tend to agree with a lot also. So really appreciate you sharing your perspectives with us. Those things. Did you have anything else on any other charts you wanted to show us, or anything else you wanted to share today?
Yeah, if you guys, I have a good thing. Basically, a long-term accumulation on ETH. I want to show you guys. I'm sure you guys would agree. ETH would probably outperform, in the next few years, the next bull run outperform Bitcoin. And what I'm really looking at on ETH right here is you could see my screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, good. So look at this on Market Cypher. What I want to show you, obviously, this is a yellow X back here. This was November of 2018, basically the same place we're at right now, yellow X. And then this was a big drop downward. Now, ETH looks probably even more bearish than Bitcoin overall right now. That was 60% down. And I know some people who are real big ETH people would probably get mad at me for saying this, but it is in the cards. You could absolutely come down 60% here to around 600 to this last spiral line we have. And look at this. The money flow coming down. This is probably as bearish you could get. Money flow coming down while your VWAP is coming down, about to come into the red here. But after this plays out and you come into the red like this time, this is going to enter a very nice accumulation phase. So from January 19th all the way to about April 20th. So over a year, just a long accumulation phase. So you absolutely could do something like this and just get that accumulation. For people, and also you want to look at the RSIs too. We're not even where the RSIs were at the bottom. See the level of the RSIs we were at the bottom here in 2018? We're just before that drop down. So it looks like you could get that capitulation really soon here. So My
I agree.
advice, now not financial advice, but wait a few weeks. Wait a month here. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was looking at, I mean, even before, just on a very macro support kind of level, some prices around $680, $700 for Ethereum didn't seem out of the cards. Now, I will say I was intrigued. It seems like Ethereum's been holding up better than a lot of the other coins with these recent dips. Now, that might just mean it's delaying it a little bit, like it's
Yeah,
kind of
that's
what
what
you
I
were just
think.
showing, like it's teetering on falling off the edge of that cliff right now. A lot of people were pointing out in our stream this morning, obviously last time Bitcoin was around these prices, 17K range, Ethereum had dipped all the way sub 1,000, which it's holding strong, much stronger than that this time. Some people are attributing to the merge, obviously with the burn rate and all that stuff kicking in. It could have some potential holding it up, but I tend to agree. It feels like Ethereum is right on the edge of dropping out. And, once it goes under $1,000 again, other than that support from the last dip, I don't know. I think it bottomed around 900. There doesn't seem to
Yeah.
be anything between 900 and, about 680, 700, maybe 650, 700, something like that. So people asking what indicator that is. Generally market Cypher for, the spider lines and some of the other stuff is not necessarily all market Cypher, I don't think. But you got a variety of indicators on there.
Everything is market cipher except from the spiral lines. Those are manually drawn, and then the moving averages obviously that's not market cipher. Yeah.
So you're looking through this bear market to accumulate. Is it accumulating Ethereum? Is that your primary strategy?
Yeah, I think, once we get to those low levels for Ethereum, obviously once altcoins, Bitcoin typically, if it's like last time, I mean, Bitcoin bottoms out when altcoins bottom out, but last time it was 8 or 9 months before you really saw the bottom for the Bitcoin altcoin pairs. So really that time, I mean, you weren't even, I think it was September 2019 when a lot of the altcoins bottomed out against Bitcoin. I think it's going to be a little bit different this time. I think you could get into ETH earlier this time because I don't really consider ETH to be an altcoin anymore. But the altcoins, like the ones like AVAX, Matic, those, it could be longer. It could absolutely be longer, especially if they capitulate downward. I mean, I have my charts. A lot of altcoins could come down another 60 to 80%. And some of them, sadly, some of your favorite, don't marry an altcoin. Some of these could go to zero. And that's what happens if you're expecting something to be a lot different this time. If you're not thinking a lot could go to zero, even ones in the top 20, so be careful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, FTT was right up there not too long ago,
Yeah.
and it's one of those ones that should be at zero at this point. Somebody said, "Why isn't FTT zero?" That's just because the people that have a lot of it are desperate to keep it as high as they can, even though it's not really working out for them. So, I would agree. I mean, I'm a big believer in Ethereum and accumulating layer ones, maybe finding other potential Ethereum competitors. But up until this point, really, Ethereum's done a great job of separating itself as that primary layer one smart contract platform. I saw very similarly. I mean, we were talking 2018, 2019 with Bitcoin. Obviously, Ethereum was having some amazing opportunities for accumulating in that period, as well as the 2020 pandemic crash that hit. So, I'm looking to accumulate right in this range right now too. I'm watching the prices very carefully. We know there's potentially another what we're hoping could be the very last Fed raise in December at 0.5 basis points. If that generally, obviously, all through this year, every time they've raised the rates has triggered some stronger DXY, weaker assets, especially stock market and digital assets across the board, basically. So that could trigger that last leg down where there's no support left for crypto. Everybody's, we've got all this bad news surrounding crypto. Everybody's afraid of the regulation coming in 2023. It's unknown. Is it going to be positive or negative? That could put us in that. I mean, it feels like we're in final capitulation right now. But I agree with what you're saying. Alts, they're hanging on by a thread, and it could get. Obviously, we've seen things can move very quickly within any markets, especially crypto. So I think that's good advice. Don't get married to any bags. Don't hold anything forever. Don't be surprised if you have if your altcoin's gone down 70% and you think, oh, I can't go down that much more. That last 20%, between 70% down and 90% down, you really feel that. That's that last final leg down that hits a little bit different.
Also, Evan, real quick, I saw a lot of the market cipher stuff was on like kind of larger term time frames. When you're dialing up a day trade, what is like the lowest time frame you will look at before like pulling the trigger? Like the 10-minute, the 24-minute? Like,
Oh,
what do you
yeah.
go to?
Yeah, that's 10-minute is a good one for the bullish divergences. You could even look at the 6-minute. The 6-minute with money flow coming out. I could show you real quick some examples of it. I mean, what I'm looking for, especially both Bitcoin and Ethereum right here, is just one big pattern in market cipher I always like to look at is the bearish div. And this is good on probably the 6-minute minimum. I don't really trade based on like 3-minute bullish or bearish divergences, but 6-minute is pretty good. I mean, look at this one right here. You're getting, I believe this was, so you look at this right here, your 6-minute. This was kind of the top yesterday, that was the top earlier this morning. This is why I went short on Bitcoin actually, but it's the same thing. Look at that and see how the money flow is coming out, and then bam, right down. Now you'd probably want to draw a local fib level, make sure we're bouncing off of something on ETH. I don't really like to enter when you're just kind of in no man's land, nothing around there, but not a fib level like that. But you were losing this area. See this pocket right here? You were losing that area. So that's one of the things I look at, especially for day trades. Usually the 6-minute is the lowest. I mean, sometimes I mess around. You could also, like, if a good thing to look at too is if, like, say price is just skyrocketing or just crashing for a potential bottom, what you like to look at is sometimes even like right here, the 1-minute bullish div. Look at how that deep money flow was, the bullish div. That was a sign that you were going to come back up a little bit right there. Also, what's really good for catching bottoms and tops, look at, I didn't take this trade because I was too scared because we were just crashing so hard, but look at this, like how you got 1, 2, 3, 4 yellow X's on a lower time frame, like the 15-minute, 4 yellow X's, and then you're regaining a big point. You have a big fib level here and a spiral, and you're regaining the point. And here, I mean, bullish divs all over, but a pretty big bullish div from here to here, and then money flow coming up. Bam. I mean, you came up a lot. I mean, even if you entered on the money flow crossover where I like to enter sometimes, still would have been pretty good for that. Even still, if you put a stop loss below there, pretty good risk reward ratio. We still did not go below that area. So that could be, if you went long, that could be a trade you're still in. I think we'll go lower, but based on my analysis, but who knows? I mean, I didn't think it happened. So always good to hedge your bets there. And if the trade is locked in with profits, then, it's risk free. There's not much to lose.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
There you go. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much, I mean, unless you had one more thing to share with us, I mean, I think that was pretty good analysis, you guys. Of course, be sure to check out Evan's both YouTube and Twitch page. Obviously, all his live streams are live here on Twitch, so go give him some support. A lot of really good strategies. How long have you been trading, Evan?
Seriously, since probably 2020, mid to late 2020, seriously. But I've been into it, since 2018. I first was into Bitcoin back in 2015 when I was around 18 years old, but that wasn't really trading. That was just just
that's
buying
learning
and selling. Yeah.
That's learning. Wait, what is this thing? What is this candle? What is this order book? What are all these numbers flying around on the screen? But then you get addicted to it. I remember the very first time I opened up at Binance.com, and I wasn't really a stock guy. I got into trading with crypto, and it was like, it seemed overwhelming. You see all these numbers bouncing around, but you just you keep at it and you keep getting used to it. And then each time you learn a little piece of information, and it's a little more comfortable each time you log in, is what I would say. So any final thoughts or parting messages for the audience here today?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I like to tell people too, and that I've kind of took a while for me to figure out is, there's other asset classes aside from crypto that you could, if you're somebody who doesn't want to short, if you're somebody who just wants to look at other asset classes, and a lot of them are easier to trade. I mean, silver right now, I've done very well just going along on silver, and gold and silver, they typically bottom out halfway through bear markets and S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. There's a strong possibility those could be bottomed out. I know I sound like Peter Schiff, but people probably hate this, but there's other asset classes. I don't care what the asset is. If it's going up, I'm going to buy it. If it's going down, I'm going to try to short it. If you don't find any good trades with crypto on a certain day, I'm willing to bet there's probably a decent trade you could find with S&P 500, with gold, with silver. There's a lot of other things. So yeah, and that's one of my favorite. That's one fun thing about market ciphers. Once you learn, I mean, technical analysis in general, but also the market cipher indicator works on any of those charts: S&P 500, gold, silver, commodities, any of that kind of stuff. So like you said, once you learn that skill, you can apply it a lot of different places. So yeah, I think that's really good advice. So
absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll have to have you on again. Maybe we start doing a Friday segment where we have other people on, and we'll do it again in the future, and get you on the morning show every once in a while. That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on. Thanks. It was
awesome. Take care, Evan. And like I said, guys, make sure to go support when you get a chance. He's an awesome dude. And, obviously the Bit Squad, some of the most awesome happy, intelligent community that there is out there. We got a lot of really good traders in here, so go support him, guys. So all right,
Yeah, his
getting hot.
in the chat, his Twitter is real Evan Aldo. I
Real
just
Evan.
followed him.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
highly suggest to do that.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect.
Awesome.
Also, Gio in the chat asked, when do you eat lunch, TJ? Actually, I'm eating lunch right now. So I actually cram my face full of a few bites of sandwich right before this thing goes live. I pull up all the links to go over for the stream. It's getting really hot in here. And then
Now it is.
and then I start eating while I'm hitting the go live button.
That's out the
Or
black
while BJ
t-shirt.
is. So yeah, that's when I eat.
Mm.
All right. Well, guys, what do you guys think about that? Any thoughts? Any takeaways?
Yeah, solid
Yeah.
market cipher
Yeah,
strategy.
smart guy.
Right down the middle.
Got a
That's
question.
how you do market cipher, right there.
All right, hit me.
Crypto Thorn asks, so should we not be accumulating since it could go lower on altcoins? Seems pretty bearish.
It is pretty bearish. I would say to that, I mean, that's kind of your own risk assessment. Depends on if you're an all-in trader or not. Yes. I mean, generally speaking, waiting. I'm still waiting. I haven't really gone in heavy yet, but it depends on what your DCA strategy is. If you're DCAing $10 a week, go ahead. You know, if you're DCAing $10,000 a week, maybe take a few weeks off, you know, or just, but right now, generally speaking, there is going to be more fallout from a lot of this stuff that we've seen. There's going to be a lot more damage from, you know, the unwinding. I mean, apparently there's 130 companies owned by Alameda and FTX that are all going to have to file bankruptcy now that they have. So we're talking about a significant portion of this industry right now is going to have to be unwound. I mean, the number one story today that we were going to talk about, BlockFi stops withdrawals, hinting FTX mess can only get worse. We're almost desensitized to this at this point. Like, this was very dramatic the first time it happened when Celsius was stopping withdrawals. Everybody was freaking out. Now it's just like, oh wait, who's stopping withdrawals now? It's like par for the course.
Right.
And we knew it was going to happen. And this is just the first day they filed bankruptcy. So next week there's going to be probably more pain, most likely. And like I was alluding to, the next rate hike, I think that could potentially be the end or the bottom. But we're right at a support level where if it falls, there's not a lot of support underneath where we're at right now. So I do think, we're gonna see those lower levels, but it's up to you on whether you're DCAing right now or waiting. The other side to that coin, bless you, BJ. Other side to that coin is when you're trading, generally speaking, it's maybe if you're scalping, if you're day trading, that's one thing. But if you're trading long time frames, it's not about nailing the exact top or the exact bottom. It's about accumulating near the top and exiting near the top and accumulating near the bottom. That's generally what you're going to be trying to do. So if we're close to the bottom right now, like say what are we at? 16.7 right now. And it goes to 14 or 10, yes, you could have obviously gotten a much better position at 10 than you could have at 16. But if you continue to wait for 10 and it doesn't come, or like say it goes all the way to 14, but you're still holding out for 10 and then we rock it all the way, you're going to miss your chance. But
yeah, and see, that's like kind of exactly the conundrum that everyone's in, you know what I mean? And people ask me like all the time, like about Algorand, like, oh, like, should I buy more now? Should I wait till later? La da da. My personal strategy is that I put $100 a week into Algorand regardless if it's at 30 cents, 42 cents, 25 cents, whatever. Because like, yeah, it could go down, but like I made a plan. My plan was $100 a week, stick to the plan.
Yeah.
And like, if you have a plan, don't jump away from your plan, stick to it, because like, remember, we're playing the long game here. And if you're going to be in for 5 years, you're going to look back and think about this little drop or whatever. And you're going to like think it's kind of a joke in retrospect. So this is like one of those things. You have a plan, stick to your plan. Also, very good question in the chat. What's going to happen to FTX Arena? That's a great question.
We talked about that a lot.
That was like the first thing
I don't know
that
why,
came to mind.
why it kills me. I don't understand why everybody's so fascinated by that. But
it is kind of cool.
It's a landmark.
I want to come back. There was a few different things there. Great advice about sticking to your plan. I think that's something that goes a long way. There's a lot of emotions involved with trading, a lot of emotions involved in money. So when those emotions come up, you made a plan for a reason. Stick to that plan. And I think that was really good advice. A couple people in the chat say everybody knows AJ's plan is just to buy more Algorand. Hey, it may not be a bad plan.
You got to come up with a plan though first, right?
Good
to
point.
Stick to a plan. You got to understand what are your goals in life. Like, what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you trying to buy a house? You need a car to live in?
Who are you really?
That's a really good point because a lot of people, like when they get into a trade, they like say it's a long-term hold, but then it goes up 10% and they want to day trade the profits.
Right.
I'm like, well, what are you doing here? Are you making a goal to go 2 years or are you finna the cop 10%? Like you need to know that before you get the position.
So let me ask
the
you,
reverse AJ ETF.
I like that.
Ooh.
let me ask you this. If you don't, what advice do you have for people who don't know where they want to be in life and don't have goals, Drew?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, I mean, like well,
Whoa, maybe not that. Maybe not that.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
so, you know, I mean,
Sort of.
if you don't have goals in life, I mean, there's a lot of inner workings. Yeah, you can get into the fertilizer business. You know, there's always a commodity that's highly sought after. Fertilizer is going to be one of them in the next year.
No, they could be the fertilizer.
They can also
was
be
the
the
joke.
fertilizer.
That was the joke.
Yeah. If you don't have goals, I mean, there's not. You get up off your rump and
So
start running. Like
Yeah.
you know,
what are you doing in crypto if you don't have
Yeah,
I was
you
gonna say
have to
maybe
have-
start with life goals before you
Yeah.
start investing.
you have to have a goal and like a target, like something that you're aiming for to understand when you're willing to exit. Like maybe if your target is I want to make $1 million off of 10,000, then you're probably going to be holding till 2030, and you probably could get there if you do it the right way, in my opinion. But it's going to be a long-term play, and like not having those goals kind of I feel like confuses a lot of people on their exits.
Also, like crypto is one of those things that like you have to get organized in this situation here. Like you have to mentally know where you're at. You emotionally have to know where you're at. You have to get your ducks in a row. Like if you go home and your room is like really messy and your kitchen is piled high, like I wouldn't be surprised if your trades are like totally whack.
Absolutely.
Like clean your room,
Get
make
your
your
life
bed,
together.
like, you know, apologize to your family, do what you got to do to get right upstairs. Cause if you like have a clean house, you have a clean mind, you're doing the right things. Like these all contribute to the mental space you're in when you're trading. It sounds like it doesn't matter, but trust me, it really matters.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Your mindset, your headspace, generally can be reflective of your life space, you know, so to speak.
And
So
I'm the young Adam Sandler. I like that.
yeah,
Can I say something about what Corey said?
No.
Best advice: don't trade if you suck at trading. That's me.
yeah.
So, yeah, like
That's good. That's great advice.
You know, like seriously, like I am the 95% or whatever the number that loses money. Like I lost $1,000 in Bitcoin when I was trying to trade it, and I was like, you know what, my number was when I lose 1,000, I'm done because I don't want to lose more. And so I stopped trading. And to be honest, you know, it's one of those things where if you don't one have the passion, a relative passion for it, and two are able to look at charts relatively a lot, it's hard to get an edge. Like clearly Evan Aldo is a very, like he's saying things like I've been in crypto a good amount, and it's the trading mindset's just a whole nother level is what I'm
You
trying
could
to
just
say.
trade on the beach.
Yeah,
You
he's
got
smart.
this.
Like, and
Very
also
good.
like another thing with trading, especially for people that are new, that like you're really not used to seeing the swings in money. Like even if you have a stop loss set and you get stopped out and you lose a couple $100, like, and you revenge trade over that, like you really got to get used to the swing in money. And I know this sounds like kind of counterproductive, but it's not a bad idea to go play like some relatively mid-stake poker.
Well, and
Because
so-
when you do that, you get used to the money swings.
Yeah.
And then once $500 becomes like fairy dust in your brain, like
Right.
money in my brain is broken.
Yeah, there's no such thing as money.
Broken.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm better at leverage trading and I'm better at trading because I'm used to the swings. So get used to that like weird effed up feeling in your stomach. And when that becomes like your common ground, then you're almost ready. Almost.
Yeah, well, no, it's so funny you said
One
that.
of us.
Yeah, exactly. True degen right there. But
Yeah.
it is there is a very high crossover between poker players and traders, both stock market and crypto, because of what AJ was just talking about. You get used to in poker, they call it going on tilt, right? You take a really bad beat. You can't be emotional about the way you play the game the following hands. You have to stick to your plan. You have to stick to your strategy. You have to stick to your research and your numbers and follow through exactly according to plan, even when something doesn't go your way, because that's what you plan for. That's what you strategize for. It's same in poker. You don't have to win every poker hand. You just have to win more than you lose. It's very similar with trading. Or the concept of when you win, you want to win big, and when you lose, you want to lose small. Like same principles apply across the board. It's capital allocation, it's asset management, it's bankroll management, all those different things. Very similar crossover in skills when it comes to trading. But there was another, I was trying to scroll up and find it. I don't remember who said it. There was somebody else that mentioned, what about just laddering? When you're talking about dollar cost averaging, when you're not sure, when you're near the bottom, what's wrong with laddering lower and lower buy orders? Nothing. That's a great strategy. It's something we did. You guys asked us before where we had ours. We had one set at 17 that hit. We have another one set at 14 that hasn't hit yet. We have another one around 10.5-ish approximately. So it's like one of those where if it goes down low enough, your order will fill, even if it only goes down there very briefly. But you're planning for, like, if it doesn't go that low, hey, I got some at 17. If that's the bottom, we got some. If it goes to 14, what was that sound? Putting on lotion over there or something?
It puts lotion
I took
on
my
the skin.
I took my jacket off, and BJ got real excited over there with the
Wanna get
lotion.
the rub.
Jeez.
Hey, Butchilla said.
Butchilla. Wendy O preaches that. Yeah,
What's
Wendy's
up?
a big proponent for low buy orders for sure.
She said, hello, new to Twitch. Question: if any tokens got classified as securities at some point, how do you think that would realistically affect the market? Could projects be salvaged if they register as a security? May not happen, but is a real possibility.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't come out and really deemed any project securities. They have a few, and they've handled those. They've done settlements and stuff. And yes, I think EOS would be one in that category where they came out, deemed it as a security, they paid a fine, and then they're done.
What is the deal with Polymath, TJ? Isn't Polymath one of the projects that's focused in on being securities compliant?
Polymath was supposed to help make tokens security tokens. Right. I don't want to ever hear the word Polymath ever again.
I know. Well, I just
Yeah, I think it's a dead project. Maybe it's not. Let's go look.
It might be worth it.
Just for my own. Yeah.
Just because all the FUD coming in,
Polymath. Here we go. Look at this. Let's look at the all on Polymath. TJ's biggest regret. Let's see.
TJ's biggest.
They must have adjusted all these prices, because I remember it being like hundreds, or I can't remember what the price was. Definitely more than $1.30. February 20. This is about when I was buying it. Probably February 20. Probably literally right here, right at this very top.
Okay.
And I probably sold it about right here.
Oh,
Oh man.
Well, while you're looking at charts,
No,
Crypto Thorn said, can we talk about AMP? I know y'all were bullish on it and accidentally sold it off, but are y'all still looking at it, or is it dead?
No, it's not dead. For sure, it's not dead. It's still a project we're looking at. It's one of those. It's kind of in a mid range where it doesn't. Strong project, had made some inroads. I think that was one that was rumored to have some associations with Amazon and stuff like that. I can't remember.
Home Depot, Baskin Robbins. There were a lot of retail places they were connected with.
So it's still a strong project. We haven't reaccumulated it yet, mostly because of some of that stuff Evan was talking about, where we're not really going hard on alts right now. Even alts that we really, really like, we're just not buying a lot of. Even like Ethereum, for example. Which maybe you could argue isn't necessarily the typical alt these days, but I still haven't gone heavy and hard on it yet this bear market. I think I can still get some sub 1,000. What does that look for? Not me, it's him.
Yep.
He's eating candy down there.
unbelievable.
And
They're
not
coming-
sharing.
My gum in my
Unbelievable.
Oh, gum in your pocket. Yeah. So anyway,
The
that's
cycle. Come on.
other than the only alts I think we're really holding right now would be Ethereum, Cardano, and I know we've got a handful in the example portfolios and some of those sort of things, but nothing wrong with AMP. Yeah, I'd say keep looking at it, take another dig into it. But there's a lot of other eGold right now is one. They just went through a whole rebrand. I'm curious about digging into what that's about, and kind of like I think it's Multiverse X trying to position itself for the metaverse, high throughput, that sort of stuff. But we'll just have to keep digging.
Hey,
One
T,
more.
Yes, AJ.
Oh, go ahead, AJ.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, T, do you know a project I'm really bullish on?
Does it start with an A?
No. No.
BitBoy Crypto.
I really like Near.
Near Protocol, yes, I do too.
I think
that's a good
Near is going to rip.
I do too.
Yeah.
Side note on that is one that's wrapped up in some of the Alameda stuff.
But they said they had minimal exposure. Minimal.
Well, they've said a lot of things over the last week. Yeah,
They also got wrecked, and I think if it came back, I mean, that coin is sitting around $3.
No, I like it too. I'm not trying to. Near is one that is on my accumulation list. I haven't done anything with it yet.
Same.
But I would just say wait for this Alameda stuff to shake out. And
sure.
But yeah, that's a great alt. I mean, a lot of people like it.
Near Casper. And what I like about Near and Casper is that there's only like 25, 30,000 programmers in the world that know how to code in Solidity. And that's super, super complicated to do. I don't know much about coding, but I do know that Near and Casper both you can code in Rust, and for Near you can code in JavaScript. And because of that, they have all these developer grants to make like ground level developers be able to code on these platforms, and they have like really easy like software developer kits or SDKs to easily make new dApps and stuff like that. And just the amount of money from Fortune, from VCs, and they have like deals with Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies that they have like NDAs about and stuff like that. Near and Casper, I'm telling you, they're one couple to watch right there.
Yeah, no, I agree. The programming languages, if you guys are looking into altcoins to analyze programming languages, does become a very it's kind of a dark horse factor in a lot of ways. It doesn't show up. It's not like TVL. It's not like tokenomics and a lot of that stuff. But the programmers at your disposal definitely matters a lot. There's only so many programmers in the world, and you need them to build and develop and create applications within your ecosystem. Solidity, obviously, like AJ was saying, is not only is it not necessarily a simple language, but it's not simple to write very securely, if that makes sense. It's very hard. It takes a lot of debugging and a lot of auditing to make sure all the smart contracts are safe and secure, where some of these other languages are making them easier. I know that's Cardano's whole concept with the Plutus Playground, making it very easy for even everyday non-developers to be able to operate within a framework that lets them spit out contracts like developers. He mentioned Rust, or I think you mentioned Rust and Move, or Rust.
Yeah, Rust. So Near and Casper both have Rust, but then Near also has JavaScript.
Yeah, and Rust has its advantage.
Gotta hit the button when other people talk, BJ.
Oh, sorry. I was
okay. Especially you. Nobody's seen your pretty face.
I was thinking about Rust. Okay.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
And also there's like
scalability and security. But
and there's like 5 million coders that can code in Rust compared to the 25, 30,000 that code in Solidity. And definitely, like, when you're looking into alts, look into that, because the devs and how many there are and the grants and all that stuff. Like, if you want to get TVL into a project, you have to have dApps. And if you want to have dApps, you have to have a bunch of developers. So all these things, it's all relative. It's all relative.
Yeah, Corey said, I learned Python, and that takes a special kind of person. I spent like 40 hours programming a simple slot machine. That was enough for me to realize it's not my thing.
Right.
Yeah, I did that too. Fun story. The only coding experience I have, I wouldn't say I learned how to do Python coding, but I learned how to create a Instagram bot actually back in 2018 that would automate almost every single action on Instagram, with a little Google, Google server kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, obviously everybody knows a lot of program or coding is just finding and tweaking other people's codes and just ripping lines from here and there. So that's what I did.
Secret.
That's what I did. I went on Google and I found some Python scripts and I played with them and I changed a few things here. And that was my experience with coding. So Corey, if you had started with a simple slot machine framework where you just had to put in like, hey, this is the name and this is the colors, and you just tweak it, you learn a lot about it that way, and it saves you a lot of time. So it's kind of like the Cliff Notes for coding. So
Jay Masry asked, hey TJ, what are your thoughts on Coinbase? And in relation, yesterday, CryptoThorn asked, y'all think U.S. exchanges are safer than international? So kind of related.
Yeah, there's been a lot of questions about Coinbase. I'll start with U.S. being safer than international. It's pretty relative. I would say they're going to be more regulated than international, if that makes sense. So safer, maybe. I don't know. FTX was a U.S. exchange, was extremely heavily regulated, and clearly it wasn't very safe. So take that for what it's worth. I will say other places do less regulation. That does allow the companies to grow more, but it also allows them a lot more freedom to operate in ways that like FTX just was. So keep careful there. I would say kind of what Evan was talking about, and I think we talked about this a lot yesterday. The older the exchange, so Coinbase and Kraken, we looked it up yesterday. Kraken, I think, started 2012, Coinbase 2013 or something like that. Or maybe it was 2011, Kraken 2012, Coinbase. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, well, it was Kraken 2011, Coinbase 2012.
Yeah, so Kraken, Coinbase, Gemini, like he said, Gemini, the Winklevoss twins, they were around from the very beginning. They're going to have massive, both personal and business reserves. They've been operating this long in this space. They've accumulated a lot over the years. So for that reason, I would give them slightly more confidence. But still, again, I think you're asking the wrong question. Is this exchange safe? Is that exchange safe? Just assume no exchange is safe for any substantial amount of money and custody it yourself. You guys were talking about Ledger while Evan was talking. I saw it in there. That's why I went ahead and threw the link in there. Just go to ledger.com. Don't buy it off Amazon. Don't buy any other link from anybody else. People do that. People buy it from Amazon, and you don't know for sure that it's coming directly from the manufacturer or so. Or affiliate link. That's fine. I mean, usually there's a code, but just. Do we have a code right now, Decker? Do you know?
Not currently. There was one earlier.
I gotta bring something up here. I'm all hot and bothered. I gotta answer this question.
Get him.
Mahmoud Farah, thoughts on Bitcoin miners and the energy crisis.
Okay.
What
we
crisis?
so we just had the books cooked a little bit to lower the cost of gas right before these elections came. I think that geopolitically, with OPEC throwing us under the bus on the production and our own stance on energy production here in the U.S., that is a major, major black swan that is still yet to be discovered. I think that we could see gas hit $10 in the middle of next year.
Don't say that.
10 days less. Hey, don't we have like 10 days left of diesel fuel supposedly?
It's our production is minimal at best, and a lot of things operate off diesel. But beyond that, BASF has stopped producing 40,000 raw chemicals for production across the world.
All the coal
There's a
shit
lot of
stuck in the
things.
Mississippi right now.
But that paired with it costs in Georgia, it's like the cheapest in the U.S. and it costs $13,000 per Bitcoin to produce right now. In the average state, it costs about $20,000 to $22,000 to produce a singular Bitcoin. Some second and third world countries, it costs upwards of $80,000 in USD per Bitcoin at the current energy prices. Imagine what happens to the model if energy moves from where it is, Georgia, $3 all the way up to $8, $9 in the middle of next year. Now that they've gotten their seats in the political realm, imagine what that might do to the valuations of these things. Could get pretty ugly pretty quickly from the energy crisis.
Well, if the price of energy goes up, the price to produce one Bitcoin goes up, right?
Right.
Does that in theory, could that trigger another bull market?
Yeah, I would hope so in logic, but that kind of that takes a lot of profitability, and how many large corporations are going to be willing to hodl at a fourth or a fifth of the value? Well,
that's what I'm saying. The price would have to go up.
Right. There would be no way for it to exist without it going up. I mean, that would take away a lot of the incentive for them to mine it.
And then obviously we've got the halving coming up, which then the cost to mine a Bitcoin would go up even more because the block reward gets dropped another 50%.
That can when you say a super cycle, that's what goes in the back of my mind, TJ, is the energy crunch that the world is going to face from conventional warfare over the next 5 years.
Well, let me ask you this. If you think all of this energy crunch is manufactured for elections and political gains, once we get through those cycles, do you think it gets, basically crisis averted? It's not as scary as we all thought. We are going to be able to have heat. We are going to be able to have energy. Gas prices aren't going up nearly as high as we thought.
I don't think that it was necessarily manufactured. I would hope not. I think it's just that we had really a big idea of what we could accomplish in ESG narratives, and then
didn't.
And then Larry Fink and Jamie Dimon decided to play hooky at Davos this year, sending a big signal to Mr. Schwab at the top of the pile on the World Economic Forum. So
you think them not showing up for the Davos meeting is meaning basically you don't have the support of the banks for your plan to go through with basically the WEF initiative?
Yes, I think that it died right then and there.
And he's obviously, for you,
That's
those
hot.
of you who don't know, he's referring to Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum, and their meeting. It was just recently in Davos, right? A few months ago.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 3 months.
June,
Yeah.
just sometime over the summer. They had basically they have a big meeting in Davos where all the major financial players, a lot of the bank representatives, CEOs, and asset managers, as well as they do one. It's interesting when you start digging into this. They do them for a few major industries, banking, obviously, and the media one. They have another huge one. Kind of everybody getting their advertising dollars in place for the year, and kind of the talking points and messaging points that they're going to be pushing out over next year. I didn't realize that Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan did not attend this year. That will be
him
interesting.
and Larry Fink played hooky, didn't show up. Everyone was like, "What?"
Yeah, I know WEF. Somebody said All American Zero, the Great Reset. You'll own nothing and be happy about it is basically what they say. So
I think they failed though, so good news.
Hopefully.
well, we'll see. We'll see. The verdict's still out. I don't
Yeah.
think they're going to take defeat so easily.
All
This
right,
is
now
gonna-
I got that off my chest. I
Feel better?
Yeah, I
Do
feel
You feel better.
better?
So what happens if miners are not profitable and they switch off their miners? This is a very common narrative, in every bear market, miner capitulation, as you'd call it. What happens if we start to see mass exodus of Bitcoin miners? Anybody want to take that one?
Oh, I just have a quick thing. I mean, the Bitcoin mining difficulty depends on the amount of miners trying to mine
Yep.
or validate blocks. So if you think about it kind of like arbitrage, kind of in a way, if you're familiar with arbitrage, it's like since there will be less miners, the demand for mining will go down, aka the mining difficulty will go down. And then people will be more incentivized. Oh snap, it's actually easier to mine a Bitcoin. It's cheaper to mine a Bitcoin. I'm going to get back into it until it kind of meets this equilibrium where it's, the price to mine is the price to mine.
Right. So just like right now, when we've got more and more competition on the network and we see difficulty adjustments to the upside, you can see those same difficulty adjustments to the downside is what he's saying when people turn miners off and there's less competition for each block. So obviously that's not great for the security of the network, even though it would have to fall dramatically before it would ever be considered unsecure.
Yeah.
That's essentially how that works. So the incentives are offset by the competition. So the more people trying to get it, the more difficult it becomes. So somebody did make a good point, and this does play a factor in all this chemistry, but it doesn't Marathon Digital, one of the largest, I think maybe the largest publicly owned Bitcoin mining company, own a power company so that they don't have to pay for power, just the process and create it themselves. That's very true. There are big operations in different places. I mean, you were talking about the cost to mine here in the United States, obviously, and then third world countries where power is more expensive. Obviously, there's second and third world countries where power is much less expensive, where you're very close to the main power supply and they can mine Bitcoin there even cheaper. Kazakhstan being one of those places where it's fairly cheap to produce Bitcoin. So you see the miners gravitate towards parts of the world where energy is cheapest and most efficient, and that's where they get the best return for it. And it's those actors and players. Basically, you're incentivized to seek out the cheapest, most efficient energy for your mining operation. And so by doing that, those miners will keep the network active, and not all of them. Yes, maybe you might have somebody who's trying to mine in California switch off their miners, but you're not going to have a mining operation in Kazakhstan or some of those other places shut down, which is some of the power of a decentralized network that is open and incentivized for all people to compete to solve these transactions. So
That's huge.
yeah, it is. It's a very it's a very well thought out system, really. The whole blockchain mining mechanism, proof of work mechanism, which is why obviously so many people are proof of work maxis. It is the proof of work in a lot of ways. That is the beauty in Bitcoin that keeps it safe and economical in the way that it functions right now. That being said, obviously it's trying to solve money, peer-to-peer, peer-to-peer money transfer and store of value outside of banks and third parties. Other blockchains are trying to solve other things where proof of work may not be quite as critical. Now, that's the number one thing that gives you the trustworthiness, I think, of many chains, is you have to put in the work, which is why so many people are proof of work advocates. But I do think proof of stake is here to stay, and many chains will operate on proof of stake going forward.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah. Remember when I freaked out when the regulatory framework came out from the White House?
Mm-hmm.
And the methane flares? I think that we're going to see a marriage of proof of work and oil and gas in the middle of next year. When those regulations come out, I think there's going to be major incentives.
I agree 100%. I think we will see Bitcoin mining forever tied to energy for the rest of time, because they're really is not a lot of difference. A lot of people argue store of value or store of resources is just store of energy. You're just storing up your energy to use later in the future.
Mhm.
And Bitcoin represents a store of energy better than any asset I've ever seen, even gold.
Yeah. I think it's coming.
All right,
coming.
let's see what I still can half read. I can see riddled with pun sets on. I saw an article where a village/small town in Asia, or maybe it was Africa, where they have small power plant powered by a local river. It generates enough electricity to power the whole village, and then they mine BTC with the excess power. Wow, interesting. Must be a strong river.
Yeah. Strong river.
I mean, you
you'd be
can't-
surprised you don't need that much flow to control
Yeah.
a lot of this. Like, I think hydro is the most flooded thing in the world.
It is. I have a small series going on about creating a hydroelectric power cell in the back or on my property.
And I'm the one who told you to go to a junkyard and grab fans.
I already had that idea. Thank you, VJ.
Did not.
Is this another?
Did not.
What's it called? Sideshow. The
Oh my
Drew
God.
and BJ Adventures, where they build a sustainable.
And they argue the whole
Yeah,
time. I'd
exactly.
watch it.
They fight like an old married couple, but they are building the most technically advanced, sustainable underground bunker living facility ever
like it.
designed. Yeah.
Preppers.
too.
Follow us
Yeah.
for more recipes.
Oh man.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all we have time for
Yeah.
today. I've got a couple more things to get to, but always love hanging out with my basement dwellers here, guys. Always have fun with you guys. Let us know what you thought about Evan Aldo. Let us know if you like
Yeah.
us having calling guests. Still want to have some of you guys in as calling guests. We need to maybe going to work on maybe a Discord or something like that today. Want to get it going.
Yeah, let's get riddled with puns in here.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
needs to jump on.
He's one of my like 5 Twitter followers.
Corey, riddled with puns, chemistry bro. You got
Chef-
Gata Life. You
Chef
got a lot of people that
Crypto.
are here every single day. So we love you
Yeah.
guys, especially when it's small like this. It's easy to recognize all the names. And of course, I know many of you have been there every single day on the morning live stream because it used to only be like 20 or 30 of us in here. So we really got to know each other. So
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks
we
for
love
coming
you
out.
too.
Yeah, and we
Appreciate
might
it.
we might start playing some games and stuff, doing some weekend stuff if we have time, and just hanging out here more often. Or as always, Joel and the Hit Gaming crew, they always like hanging out with you guys, so we might get them on here talking some games and crypto at the same time. But until next time, we'll see you guys next week, Monday, 1:15. Hop in, tell your friends. It's Best Crypto Show.
Anywhere.
Period.
Tell your moms too.
Let's all get naked.
Sure.
All right.